Your father, he had a heart attack.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we'll be discussing the impact of 10 different fictional sitcom characters' deaths throughout the history of the medium. We'll be omitting instances such as 8 Simple Rules, since it was John Ritter's real-life passing that necessitated this change. Also, some massive spoilers will follow.
Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake's plane was shot down.
Number 10. Jody Howard Mom. The issue of substance use and recovery is a central theme within the narrative of Mom.
Hey, Jody. Hey, this is my mom, Bonnie.
Hi.
We're gonna grab coffee with some girls from the meeting. Do you wanna come with us?
I can't, I got plans.
Introduced in season 3, Jody is taken in off the street by Bonnie and Christy Plunkett, despite a mutual apprehensive distrust. Eventually, however, Hubbard becomes close with the pair, even joining their Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. However, things take a dark turn when Jody joins her boyfriend in a relapse, resulting in her death.
Christy, what's happening?
Jody overdosed.
She gonna be okay?
She's gone.
Oh.
Yes, officer, I'm still here.
There are no laughs here, replaced instead by stages of grief and mourning that include shock, disbelief, blame, and most of all, pain.
Christy, I don't think I can hold it together.
Yeah, well, you will. All of us.
Number 9. Paul Johnson. Blackish.
Oh, I made great time from the Mexican border. Never had to stop and fill up. The old RV runs on vegetable oil and animal waste. Smooth ride, crappy mileage.
The modern situation comedy benefits greatly from the ability to showcase family scenarios that might not have been allowed under previous cultural mores. The separation of Dre and Rainbow Johnson, that's explored in season 4, comes to a head when the latter's father unexpectedly dies.
He's gone! Oh my God!
Who's gone?
My dad is dead!
This brings the couple together, and it's from their shared grief that the decision is made to try and save their marriage. Naturally, real life doesn't always work in this fashion, but Blackish does a great job at presenting a potential outcome that may occur between two adults who find solace in one another during a difficult and stressful time.
Yeah, I went over to see her and I didn't want to go.
Number 8. Sandy. Growing Pains.
And that restaurant was so romantic.
Shindigs? It's a bar with sawdust on the floor.
The writers of Growing Pains may not have cared enough about Sandy to give him a last name, but generations of sitcom viewers never forgot the impact of this twist ending. Matthew Perry gives a great performance as Carol's boyfriend, who winds up in a hospital after drinking and driving. The episode Second Chance leads us to believe that at first, Sandy will survive his ordeal, only for the character to actually pass away from his injuries.
Carol, Sandy just died.
Oh my God.
The Seaver family's grief at the loss of Sandy underlines how life isn't fair, that those titular second chances aren't always given, and that they will have to carry on with only the memory of Sandy in their hearts.
This isn't fair! What happened to his second chance? What happened to his second chance?
Number 7. Edith Bunker. Archie Bunker's Place.
First off, please accept condolences on behalf of myself and Fidelity Insurance on the death of your wife, Judith.
That was Edith.
This spin-off from All in the Family didn't wind up having the cultural impact of its predecessor, but it was responsible for one of the most palpably emotional goodbyes in television history. Archie Bunker's wife Edith made a number of appearances on the show, but was eventually killed off-screen by a stroke. The resulting monologue from Carol O'Connor as Bunker is one of the most harrowing and heartfelt performances ever committed to the medium.
You had no right to leave me that way. Without giving me just one more chance to say I love you.
The veneer of Bunker's bluster and bravado had been shattered before, but here it was exposed at its rawest point. Archie cries out with love for his lost wife, and we truly feel the character's pain and yearn to comfort this flawed but grieving man.
She was the one who was supposed to stay down here with you, you know. Not me.
Number 6, Dan Connor, Roseanne.
I really don't feel so good. I'm not kidding. Maybe you should go find a phone and call Dr. Walker.
Dan?
Call somebody.
Let's forget for a moment that this next death was eventually retconned on the show. The death of Dan Connor was a moment that nobody who had followed this sitcom saw coming from a mile away. Dan's heart attack that occurs at his daughter's wedding, at first, seems like a health scare. It's then revealed during the following season, however, that Dan actually succumbed to said scare.
I lost Dan last year when he had his heart attack. But he's still the first thing I think about when I wake up.
Our hearts were mended almost 2 decades later when Dan was revived for the reboot. Of course, it was only a matter of time until death befell the Connor household again.
I have to live with this for the rest of my life. Isn't that enough for you?
My wife's gone. What do you think?
Number 5, Chet Hunter, Boy Meets World.
So, is this what you're doing for kicks now? Hustling students out of their tuition money?
I'm not hustling, I'm teaching. I'm teaching them not to play pool with a stranger, especially when that stranger's me.
The world of the TGIF sitcom lineup wasn't exactly bereft of engaging and occasionally heartbreaking stories. The death of Chet Hunter on Boy Meets World has to be chief among these moments, thanks primarily to how well the show handles the material. The overall effect is similar to Sandy's demise in Growing Pains, although here, we're given a lot more information about Chet as a character.
I'm sorry I didn't do right by you, son. I'm a lousy father.
You heard what I said?
Yeah.
His relationship with son Sean serves as the crux of Chet's personal arc, yet his brief familial reunion is cut short when he suffers multiple cardiac episodes. Sean's pain is particularly palpable, as is this feeling of helplessness in a world that's not always fair to the living left behind.
His heart wasn't strong enough. I'm sorry, boys. I'm sorry.
Number 4, Susan Ross, Seinfeld.
She expired.
Are you sure?
In hindsight, fans of Seinfeld probably should have known that a show about nothing wasn't going to take even the death of a recurring character seriously. However, this doesn't make the death of Susan Ross any less shocking. Here, it's the manner of Ross's death that's the most bizarre and troubling, as she's poisoned by the cheap glue present within the budget wedding invitations picked out by George Costanza.
We found traces of a certain toxic adhesive commonly found in very low-priced envelopes.
Well, she was sending out our wedding invitations.
The latter's apparent relief at his fiance's death and almost immediate attempts to date again make this plotline perhaps one of the funniest exercises in bad taste, pardon the pun, ever.
Anyway, I've got the funeral tomorrow, but my weekend is pretty wide open, and I was wondering... Hello?
Number 3, Marvin Erikson, How I Met Your Mother.
For God's sake, son, do you have any 6s? Go fish.
There are a number of reasons why the death of Marvin Erikson in How I Met Your Mother is so shocking. For starters, there's the swiftness with which the news is dealt. An out-of-nowhere declaration by Lily to Marshall that his father has suffered a fatal heart attack.
Marshall, something's happened.
Since most of the episode deals with the pair's attempts at becoming parents, Marshall is left gobsmacked by the news. This is where the fact that both Jason Segel and Alison Hannigan were only given their lines on the day of filming comes into play. The reactions are real, the revelation shocking, and the audience feels as blindsided by Marshall at the news.
He didn't make it.
My dad said?
Number 2, Ben Sullivan, Scrubs.
You get diagnosed with leukemia and then you disappear for 2 years? What is that about?
Well, it went into remission, and I wanted to go out and see the world for all its splendor and glory.
Scrubs did an excellent job at marrying moments of gleeful levity with some of television's most effective drama. This balance is fully displayed in the episode My Screw Up, whereby John C. McGinley's Dr. Cox spends the lion's share of its running time reconnecting with a cancer patient named Ben Sullivan. It's initially stated that Sullivan is in remission, but the audience soon gets the feeling that something's not quite right.
You know, crying babies covered in chocolate, people singing happy birthday to my son who've never even met him before, you know, the whole routine. Where do you think we are?
The eventual revelation is that Sullivan is actually deceased, and Dr. Cox's guilt has manifested Brendan Fraser's appearance as a means of dealing with the reality of a funeral. Knowing all of this does nothing to dampen the impact of the episode, however, and it remains a mandatory sitcom viewing.
With the help of those around you, you'll get through this too.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake. MASH.
Going home. Wow. Oh, boy, that's a Bernie.
MASH never shied away from showcasing how war was hell and that nobody was safe. However, it could be argued that prior to the death of Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake, these nobodies were primarily guest stars, not recurring main characters. This is what makes Blake's exit from the series so shocking and dramatic.
You behave yourself or I'm gonna come back and kick your butt.
The commanding officer gets his marching orders home, and McLean Stevenson's character gets the hurrah treatment from his friends, all of whom are happy for his good fortune. Then, Gary Berghoff's Radar O'Reilly delivers the tragic news that Blake's plane has been shot down over Japanese waters, en route to its destination.
It's Bunyan. There were no survivors.
The filmed reactions are real since none of the cast was made privy to this information until the last moment. Which sitcom character's death left you the most shocked? Let us know in the comments.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.